Hello, you're tuning into UniTunes, a show where we seek to showcase the sounds of Australian music. I'm your host, Fynn, and today I'm very excited to welcome back to the show, MILLY McPherson. Thanks so much for joining us back on UniTunes. How are you doing today, Millie?
I'm good, Fynn. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be back.
Always a pleasure. So before we get into it, we want to acknowledge and pay our respect to the traditional custodians of the land we're on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. Now, MILLY McPherson is an independent solo artist whose folk rock music reflects the essence of a 21-year-old woman's experience in the Sydney rock scene. And she's just released her brand new single, MILLY Song. So before we talk all about it, shall we answer some rapid fire questions?
Absolutely.
And who is your favorite artist right now?
Oh, God. It's actually Indigo D'Souza again. And I think I said that last time.
You did, yes.
It's still Indigo D'Souza.
That's great. You're a true fan through and through. What album do you have on repeat right now?
It's the live recording of Bon Iver. I think it's Air. And it's like it's the full album. It's a live recording that my friend Ricky showed me. And I've been listening to the whole thing over and over again.
Very good. Do you have a music-related unpopular opinion?
Oh, yes. And I unlocked it at Laneway.
Okay.
Which was just that the artist Joe from who was in Stranger Things, maybe DJO. I'm saying Joe. I think that's what it's meant to be.
I've been saying Joe as well.
Me too. And then other people were like DJO. And
I've heard a lot.
Yeah, but Joe. Yeah. He now writes a lot of songs about how he doesn't want fame and fortune. But my unpopular opinion is that is exactly how he got to where he is.
Yeah, it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation because, he's been out jumping to music because of Stranger Things. So
exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a fair opinion. All right. What's the most memorable gig you've been to?
Most memorable would have to be Billy Martin at Oxford Arts Factory this year. That was pretty cool. And even her opening artist, Ulla, was amazing. And it was sold out from the beginning. Like the opening artist got a sold out crowd as well.
Oh, awesome. That's always so good to see.
I loved it.
Rapid fire question. How would you explain your sound in 3 words?
Emotional, collaborative, and loud.
Nice. All right. I think emotional still in there from last time. So good to see the consistency. I do want to call back to your unpopular opinion last time, which was that One Direction was one of the best things to happen to music. So do you still think that?
It's so true. Huge part of history.
So true. All right.
Amazing.
Well, let's talk about your brand new single, MILLY Song, which is a really powerful track about your journey of mental health. Could you share what the song means to you?
Yeah, it's kind of a song that's existed since 2021. So I've worked with it in my old band, June the Desert Flames. We recorded a version of it and that was my last song with them. And I didn't have as much creative control as I wanted with it. So once I properly established my own solo music and my own solo band, that was kind of like my first point of business with the album. I needed that one to be just way better than the first version. And in my opinion, the way to do that was just to work with new people, fresh mindset, new environment. And we basically showed it to our co-producer, Ethan Reginato, and he just pulled it apart and brought it back together. And it's turned into something that the whole band just loves playing, and I just love it. It's pretty cool to see how one song can be a bunch of different versions over nearly 4 years.
No, it's really cool to see how it's grown, and I love how this version of the song, it starts acoustically and then it ultimately crescendos into this really impactful rock sound. So how has working with your band and working with the people that you wrote this new version of the song with helped you represent the emotions and experiences that you were originally trying to convey in the sound?
It was a lot of conversation with my band. So the band that mainly workshopped it included Oliver Hitchens, Sonny Capron, and Ben Gordon. And we originally workshopped it for our first couple solo shows. And then before we started recording the album, the band transitioned to include Audrey Baker, who's an amazing backing vocalist and keys player, and Oliver Ashby. And even our producer actually performs in the recording as well.
Cool.
So it's a lot of players. And it kind of just brought me into this very confident space. I felt super, super safe and respected and valued as a musician. They made it very clear that they were like, this is your creation and we want to make it the most interesting and crazy piece of music with like your guidance. But I also really sat back towards the end of that song for the instrumental side. I was kind of like, I kind of want to see what you guys pick out of it, and then I'll go back in with vocals afterwards and we can blend our kind of brains together. So then I rewrote the backing vocals for it after they all just added all these crazy layers. And so then it just made the song just build of this emotional level that we've kind of never reached in a live performance. So it was cool. It teaches you how awesome working with other people is. It's pretty much.
That's cool. So when you go into a song that you've had with you for quite a while, because you wrote it, I think you mentioned 4 years ago.
Yeah.
How does it feel kind of handing it over to this free-flowing collaboration where people are all contributing something and it's creating this new version?
I think because I was in June in the Desert Flames where that was the only song that was actually mine. Yeah. I think I have this little bit of protectiveness to the song. My like maternal instincts come through. So I definitely know that I felt worried going into the recording space because we did like a jam-packed 6 days back to back where we did the whole album. But I think it was hard for me at first to grapple the idea that this is a group work. And once you kind of realize that and realize that you are nothing without the people around you who support you and are a part of it, it made that song positive for me because the lyrics are very sad and the song has a very like sad undertone, a hard reality of a point in my life that wasn't so positive. And now I have such a positive association with the song. So I think once I let go of that being like my track, I kind of loved it. I felt relaxed and I felt excited and we were all just like screaming constantly in the studio because we were just so excited. So it was very fun.
So you mentioned that you kind of let go of this idea that's your song, but it is still called MILLY Song, which came about, you mentioned last time we spoke, because your old band, June in the Desert Flames, couldn't think of another name, so it just kind of stuck. So that being the song's name for so long, why did you feel that the original title still really belongs to this track?
Mainly because every day of recording, we tried to find a new name. So we talked about calling it Being With Him and A Little Less Lonely. And those were kind of the two names that jumped back and forth amongst the group. But I didn't want it to seem like it was a completely new song because I think give credit where credit's due. And it was a June in the Desert Flames song originally. And I think if we change the title, then I kind of lose that part of the song's history altogether. So I wanted to keep the name in the end. I don't know, we kept talking about new names and I'm like, it doesn't fit, just doesn't work. Because the first half of the song isn't too different to the original. So it kind of needs to be acknowledged that it is a part of one other thing. And then it means when you search it up, the June in the Desert Flames one comes right under it. Yes. And I love that. I think that's so cool. So I kind of like that they're connected. I want the other one to still exist. So I kept it same name.
Well, that's really nice because, yes, like you said, the song and how it sounds has definitely evolved. But how much has what it means to you evolved?
It's my representation of being a solo artist, and I guess it changed from being a meaning of a relationship. And it's not really that for me anymore. it originally was about like the push and pull of a codependent relationship. So about like when you're grappling a lot of mental health and you're relying on someone, but also that person's going through their own kind of things as well. And it's just this like back and forth. There's no point where you're leaning on each other. And that's kind of the point of the song, is that there's just no point where everything's bittersweet. So there's like a point in the song where it's about like hold me, but then it turns into being like, I want to feel a little less lonely. It's just like comfort. And then it's just like, okay, but all I'm thinking about is all of these things I'm going through. And that was the original meaning, and it meant performing it was a sad experience. I think that meaning has definitely shifted into like my originality and my creative work. I think my understanding of my music has changed. I have a lot of pride in it now. I'm very proud of like what I'm making. And this particularly wasn't going to be a single. We originally were only going to do one single and then the full album. And then I got told by many people who know a lot more than me to do more than one single with an album release. And so then when I learned that, I was like, okay, well, Milly's song has to come out by itself. It needs the opportunity. It needs to be heard. So it's now just a good expression of my originality instead of a reflection on a relationship, I guess, because I've reflected on that. This song is so much more.
For sure. Well, that really reminds me of something you said last time we spoke, which really resonated with me, which is that relationships, or at least when you write about a relationship in your music, the song isn't about the relationship. The song's about the experiences that you've gone through and that have shaped you. So I feel like with this song, what we're seeing is, healing, or, coming to terms with how experiences form you into a new person. And it's really interesting to see that that's happened not only on emotional level, but also on a creative level, as it's kind of seeing that in your practice as well.
Absolutely.
How's that journey, I guess, really shaped you as you started to embark on your own solo journey with your music?
I think there's been a growth of authenticity in what I'm doing. And in songwriting in general, there's a lot of songs on the upcoming album that have just sat in my book for ages. And I think I didn't have the confidence before to show a more folky side of me or a more like country side of me. And that's all in the album, which I'm really excited about. And that's all simply being done because of the support of the band. So Sonny Capron, who's kind of like, he basically like he's the main producer, so he's mixing the whole album. But he supports me as like co-management. So anything that I just have no idea about, I usually annoy him about it and he helps me. But before we had that dynamic, we also had this dynamic of I would show him a song first and be like, do you think that this could be a band track? And we always had different reasons of why songs wouldn't be a good band track. And that was kind of in the first year of being a band. And then we've kind of changed our mindset. It's less about like, okay, so what's going to be a cool band song? Now it's like, what is a Milly song? And what is interesting and what is artistic and what shows you as an individual artist? Because everyone in my band are working musicians who are in multiple different projects all at once. My guitarist, Oliver Ashby, just released his own solo single, which is cool. So we have 3 solo artists in the band, which is cool. So I think there's like an understanding of what a solo artist means now. And it's transitioned more into like, I go do solo shows or I do duo shows or I do band shows. And everyone is supportive of any of it. And I think that is mainly because we've transitioned into this originality and this experience of like, this is a group creation that comes from my song that we then build together as a group. And then I get to take that where I want to take it. And that's cool because I've never had that kind of freedom or friendship with a group of people before to be able to do that.
Yeah, nice. Well, speaking of this band, you and your band put a lot of effort into gigging, and SydneyMusic.net actually named you one of Sydney's hardest gigging musicians in 2024, which is quite the accomplishment. So, how important is consistency for you and your band when it comes to live shows?
So important. Last year we were overwhelmed beyond belief.
Yeah.
The amount of shows that we got to do. So many support shows. That was so cool because I got to support artists like Maya Tokley, who I love and
Amazing.
wanted to support. Yeah, I wanted to support her from like the second I started solo music. I was like, oh my God, I want to support her. So that was pretty amazing to see that was something that that she asked me to do. I was like, what? So yeah, so I think gigging consistently is a mix of amazing opportunities like that, and then also like empty room or crazy set time or not enough equipment, or then also like free drinks or new fans, new friends, new bands to connect with. It's this huge roller coaster of positive and negative experiences all lined up together. And so it's been a huge lesson for me of how you can gain a lot from gigging consistently, and how you also can get very overwhelmed very quickly.
No.
Yeah. It was so much fun, and being on that list for SydneyMusic.net was crazy for me because they didn't like some people like will let you know in advance, and then I just saw the post and I was like, what? Yeah, it was like, that's my face, which is so cool because I think it was exciting to see something just like gigging consistently be something acknowledged, because there's not many other platforms that do mainly go like, these are the artists that are like that you're seeing everywhere. And so I thought that was such a cool thing for them to do, and so cool to be on it. I loved that. So it was a cool moment, and crazy to think how many gigs we did.
Do you know how many gigs you did last year?
I think it was like 20, oh no, maybe it was like, I think it was like 20 something that had been recorded on SydneyMusic.net. Yeah. And then I did a lot of solo gigs last year that weren't on gig guides. So then I was kind of thinking about it. I was like, maybe I need to kind of chill out a little bit. Maybe I need to relax.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. No.
Yeah, just a tiny bit.
Big shout out to SydneyMusic.net. The work they do is incredible. Awesome.
They're awesome.
So I guess if you said some gig experiences are positive, some are negative, as a gigging musician, is it really important to go into shows knowing that you never know exactly what to expect?
Oh yeah, but it's so hard to like remind yourself of it. I mean, I guess depending on the person, maybe there are some people who go into gigs and they're like, I don't care what happens. I definitely go in being like, it could go this way, it could go this way, it could go this way. And I think it's very hard to shake the anxiety no matter what. I think I used to find it a lot harder. Now I know like I'm just going to have fun with my band on stage, and whatever else happens, happens. Yeah, like this weekend we're doing like a Valentine's show, busiest weekend of the planet. So everyone's doing shows, everyone's busy, which is fine. And we don't know how many people will come. We don't really care. We're all buying costumes and we're just going to have fun on stage. Nice. Like pretty much my solution was like, well, let's all get wings and let's all be little Valentine's angels on stage so that we get to have something fun come out of it.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the thing, right? Even if no one's there at the end of the day, if you're having fun, you're just hanging out on stage.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's taken me like many years to get to.
Yeah. No, fair. Well, I imagine there's very much a need to want it to be perfect every time because you're putting yourself out there on stage. There's a lot of vulnerability with playing shows.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a lot of like stories that you don't think that people will ever like read into. And then I kind of like realize that they'll be released by the end of the year. I'm like, you're all going to know. You're all going to know what they mean.
So you say that there is an album coming out this year. What can we maybe expect?
Yeah, it's 11 tracks. It's being mixed to the most amazing level. So it sounds like something I didn't know my music would ever sound like because it sounds so professional that I'm like, what? There's most of the songs are songs we've been playing in the last year, except for 3 tracks that have never seen the light of day. So I'm excited because there are some songs that people who come to gigs would have never heard. And then there's some that they would be like, oh, I remember this one. It's a mix of rock, folk, indie, and country all together.
We're really excited for the album. And something really cool that's happened is you're selected for Converse's All-Stars class of 2025. Tell us about what that experience was like.
Yeah, that was something also I didn't think I could do. It's been a year of that. It's like this program, it's a worldwide program. And there's, I think, different people on the program get different experiences. But mainly, like, they made a big chat of all the Sydney reps, or the Australia reps, actually, I think. Everyone in Australia, or maybe just Sydney. And so you have all these connections that so there's other like artists who are also the Converse All-Stars. They sent us a pair of shoes, which was fun. I have like a collaboration coming with them before mid-year. So there'll be something coming out with that, which is cool. It's designed by a like up-and-coming designer, which I'm really excited about getting him that opportunity to design with them. And it's just been cool to make all those connections. And yeah, so we've got things coming with them, but also they are just like, they build this platform for you to connect with people that you probably haven't connected to because they're out of your bubble. And then they also have different like applications you can do for funding for like different projects. I haven't done any of that yet because I'm focusing on just getting this music out, which was the main goal of this year. But there's a lot of underlying projects that they are just like spinning out with artists, which is so cool. The whole point is just to like support artists without making them have to pay like a bunch of money for a platform.
Yeah.
Because that tends to be the case now.
Yeah, right. And is that one of the greatest challenges? I imagine it is wanting to do stuff with your music, but finances just getting in the way. Everything's expensive, especially when you're an artist.
Yeah, everything is expensive. It's also like hard having musicians in your band because I can't like pay them what they deserve to be paid. Yeah. You know, we split all of our gig money evenly. So we just split it 5 ways. Everyone makes the same amount. And then my cut goes into like a band fund. So any money I directly make from music, I put separately to a band fund. And that's what that's how I kind of decide if we're ready to put money into this or this or this. So it's like, if I reach that financial point, then okay, let's start talking about like merchandise, or let's start talking about this. But it's like the only way to do that would be like a gig every single week. So, which is hard when all of us work and all of us are in other projects. I'm at uni as well, so I can't make much money for music. It's definitely a roadblock. And also a lot of the things that you think are free to like apply for aren't. They're not free. And yeah, and you'll like fill out a whole application and you'll be like, I'm ready to go. And then it'll be like, log into PayPal. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I understand people need to make money and the music industry is flawed. And so a lot of people aren't being paid the proper amount, which is definitely why they need to charge artists. I'm not validating that, but that's definitely where it probably stems from. Yeah. And it's just rough because we don't really make enough money to do that in the first place. Yeah. So that's why we raised funds for the recording of the album. We did an album fundraiser, and that was the only way we would have been able to pay for that because it was at Forbes Street Studios. And so it was a lot of money, but it was absolutely worth it. in my opinion.
So glad to hear that then. And speaking of, doing these shows and fundraisers, you have a launch show for this one, the Valentine's one that you mentioned. So you excited to finally play Milly's song live now that your own version is out there?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited. Yeah, we're doing our launch show this Saturday. And it's going to be just kind of a huge moment for us as a band to get to put that on stage after it's been recorded. We had our first rehearsal since it had been released. And we all noticed that we were all playing the exact parts from the recording. And it was pretty much like the cleanest we've ever played it. We were like, what's happening? It was cool to see.
So that's what everyone should expect for Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Well, we conclude our interviews by asking our guests to contribute 2 songs to our ever-growing Unitunes playlist. One that's your own and one that's another personal favorite of yours from another Aussie artist. So what 2 songs would you like to add?
My first one is Milly's song by MCPHERSON.
Amazing.
And my second is The Father by Bennett's Grove. They released a joint EP with Belvedere, and their song is The Father, and it's the craziest build of a song. I think it's kind of like the super like post-punk version of what Milly's song could be if I had a lot more anger and a lot more complexity in the song.
Yeah,
it's very complex. There's sampling. It's so cool. It's definitely one of Bennett's Grove's first like crazy tracks.
Cool.
So I would definitely say that one.
All right. We'll pop it on the playlist so everyone can give it a listen. All right, great. So this year, album in the way. If you were to encapsulate what people should expect, what's coming from Milly McPherson in the coming year, what should we keep an eye out for?
So much music. So many different shows with different artists, and I'm doing more sets with different musicians. So it's not just the standard band shows anymore. We've got that, but we've also got a whole bunch more of kind of experimental stuff. A whole lot of single releases, and hopefully merchandise before the end of the year. The kookaburras are laughing really loud outside my room. I don't know if
they're just really excited for the merch.
They are so excited for a Milly t-shirt.
Oh, who isn't?
I want one. It doesn't exist yet, but I want one.
Put me on the mailing list or the waiting list. I want to be the first to know when they're out.
I absolutely will. I'm so excited.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Milly, for joining us on YouTube. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Milly's song is out right now. So go listen to it. And yeah, we will hope to see you around. Take care.
Yeah, thank you, Fynn. Thanks for having me.
Well, good. That's all, folks.
Thank you for listening to Unitunes.